You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. You're listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join Coach C, the USA Strength and Conditioning Hall of Famer, every Monday night as he and a variety of guests, including former players, former and current coaches, pastors, and others will discuss relevant issues in coaching today's athlete, with the goal of equipping the athlete and those coaching them with the physical, mental, and spiritual armor necessary to live their best life. Here's Coach Connors.
Welcome to Absolute Empowerment. Today we've got a very special guest we're going to be talking to, Fast Willie Parker, who I had the privilege of coaching at UNC Chapel Hill. And then Willie now still holds the record for the longest run from scrimmage in Super Bowl history. So we are recording on Super Bowl Sunday here and dedicating this little pre-recording to Willie's run, which still stands. Willie, glad to have you on the program.
Man, thanks for having me, Coach. I appreciate it, man.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recognize our sponsor here, and then we'll get rolling.
Okay, good stuff.
We've got Ed Watkins Marine is our sponsor. Ed Watkins Marine has two locations to serve you, as they are located in Denver and Cornelius, North Carolina, in the greater Charlotte area of our state. He has fishing boats, pleasure boats, pontoon boats, center consoles, family-friendly bow riders, trailers, engines, and UTVs. He has all the brands you are seeking: Sea Pro, Suncatcher, pontoons, Tri-Toons, Stingray, Yamaha, Suzuki, Mercury, Vexus, Bass boats, Explorer skiffs, and more. Whether you're looking for a new boat or to repower your existing boat, Ed Watkins can help you with your boating needs. Visit them online at edwatkinsmarine.com. We appreciate Big Ed's support of the show, and Big Ed was no doubtedly the most enthusiastic and positive individual I ever coached. Thank you, Big Ed. All right, Willie, we're back. And when we're talking about boats here, I got a little bit of a memory. We went up to Pennsylvania. We were on that Monongahela River. My friend Andy had that, I think that pontoon boat. We were dragging somebody behind it was tubing that day. I don't know if you remember that.
Man, I remember going on the boat, but I don't remember dragging nobody.
Yeah, but you got a little bit concerned when we started taking in a little bit of water. So
that's what's up, man. That sounds about right.
Yeah, So yeah, what we want to do first, Willie, is we got a lot of memories to revisit, but I want to talk a little bit about Clinton, North Carolina, and kind of your upbringing in Clinton, North Carolina. A little bit about the town, particularly the influences you had growing up as a young man. Can you kind of allude to that a little bit?
Clinton, North Carolina, it's a very, very, very tight-knit town, and we didn't have too much or too many distractions growing up. So if you're an athlete or you're inspired to be somebody, that can how can I say, that can embody professionalism, or you can grow higher, or you want to have aspirations of growing higher in any field, you won't have too many distractions. You can stay focused. And me, myself, by playing football, I was inspired by just, each and every day, just working on my craft. So Clinton is one of those towns, if you're really serious about, doing something, you can really hone in and get the job done, man. And I was just blessed to be raised in such a magnificent and fabulous town or city, Clinton, man.
I hear you. Tell me a little bit about your family growing up.
The family growing up, man, we were tight knit, man. Everybody was, we was always together, always doing something. My parents, my dad got in the he got into church real heavy when I got into high school. My mother, she always was a hard working lady. She always kept a job. She always, each and every night cooking for me, myself, and my two brothers, and my sister when she was visiting. So we was like, you know, a real close family, and we still a little bit tight today, and that's how it's supposed to be. We have a strong bond.
Awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about growing up and having an aspiration to be one of what we call the Clinton dark horses. Tell me about the dark horses.
Man, the dark horses, that tradition, it runs deep, man. It starts in Little League football. You see high school coaches coming out, just checking out Little League games, and it don't make sense until it makes sense. You never knew the reason until you're in the limelight, until you're on that stage. And it starts from an early age on up to middle school, and of course they know what you've been doing, you know, in school and on in any sports that you played, like as you came up. So by the time you get to high school, they familiar with what position you're gonna play, what position you've played in the past, what you're good at, and it's up to you if you want to play something else to go tell the coach, hey, no, I don't want to play that anymore. I want to play something else, and it's just family oriented, man. And to be a dark horse, man, is really it's an honor, like to carry that black and gold and go to a championship and then win a championship and host those banners up and go back. And to this day, it's really special for myself to go back when I go back and look, at our state championships, like, just, hosted, or the banners hosted in the stadium.
Gotcha. How many state championships did Clinton win?
Total altogether?
Yeah.
I think Clinton won total. It had to be about 6 or 7,
Wow.
something like that. They won 6 or 7, man. I know I was blessed to win 2 back to back. We had a chance to win 3. We dropped the ball, coach, on that third.
Yeah, I became familiar with your head coach a little bit. I think his son's name was Rocky, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Rocky was.
Yeah, Rocky was here at ECU for a while, but tell me a little bit about the head coach.
Man, that's a great guy, man. He's a father figure, and obviously he has his own family, but he treated that football team as a second family, and he instilled principles, values, morals. It just didn't start and stop on that football field. He'll go in the classroom. He makes sure he go through those halls in the school. He's in the principal's office, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And one thing that I love that he did, he got all the ball players in his class, like fourth period, like everybody's in his class. He making sure as soon as you leave that his class, you ain't goofing off. You going to that field house. You going to that field house. You got a couple minutes field house practice, stretch about to start. So he's definitely one of like a kind type of guy, man. And I love that guy. He definitely made not only myself feel at home, but a lot of other athletes that came through as well. He'll call every now and again. Just he has a sense of humor. He'll cut a little joke, and just hey man, I haven't heard from you in a little bit, and he's one of those guys that's always gonna be known for what he's done as a coach in Clinton, North Carolina, and as a person, like with a lot of kids that he sent off to school.
Gotcha. Well, I always wondered because I thought, man, there got to be something in the water there with running backs because, I got to coach 3 great running backs, 3 great people from Clinton, North Carolina who Jarris McPhail, Leonard Henry, and yourself. Basically three of the finest people I've ever coached, and along with being great running backs and having great speed. So I don't know what was going on in that town with speed development either, but you guys can certainly run, and I think all three of you guys play in the league, right?
Yeah, we all played in the league, man, and like from Jerry's passed on a lot. The Skinner passed on a lot to me, myself, and they expected me to do the same thing to whoever else came, like, after me. And I think we did a great job in the past of like just passing on the torch, and
right.
And then, I think really what solidified everything that we came to a great strength coach and strength coordinator within yourself, man. You did your thing, man. You can't sell yourself short, man. You put us over the top, man. I think that kind of sprinkled everything what we had going on in Clinton, man, and it just took us to a whole nother level with your mentality and with your coaching.
I really appreciate that. Leonard's a pastor, of course, and I mean, what a great man Leonard is, and I just love talking to him. I've had him on a couple podcasts, and I really want to get Jarris on at some point too. And I know Jarris was in the child care business for a while. Is that what Jarris is still doing?
Yeah, man, he's doing a lot in Clinton, man. He has a lot of businesses and side hustles going on, man. He's really dialed in, man, and he's making a name for himself, like even in the business world as well.
Yeah, he was a GA for us up in Carolina for a while, so that was pretty cool as well.
That was really cool.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about you being recruited out of high school. I was at East Carolina when we started recruiting you, and that's why I was familiar with you, of course. And then that's at that time, I actually, came to Carolina that year. When you came to Carolina, I think we both came there the same year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very happy at that point that you chose Carolina because I was going to have an opportunity to coach you. And so talk a little bit about your recruiting experience out of high school.
Man, I thought the recruiting experience out of high school was amazing. It was going to different colleges, and they show you around campus. You get to hang with players that you looked up to, players that you seen on television, and you get to find a little bit more about. You get not find, but you get to see a little bit more inside of the program. Academics, athletics, and they get to talk to your parents and sell themselves to you. I was being recruited by East Carolina, and East Carolina, I think, was my first visit I ever went on, and I went up there and I had a ball, man. It was a blast. They showed me and my family a great time, had great food. It was just something that it was surreal. It was like a surreal moment. And then a lot of other in-state schools started coming around and trying to top the last school. It was just like a carousel, man. But it's a beautiful thing being recruited in high school, man. I enjoy that moment. And, I think about it all the time when young athletes talk about, being recruited. They're going to go take a visit. I like, enjoy yourself. Enjoy this moment, man, because you're going to look back one day and you're going to just reminisce and like, yeah, I did this, I did that. I met this person, man. Just take it all in and make the right decision.
Gotcha. What was the deciding factor to come to Carolina?
Carolina, see, I was a, diehard Tar Heel. I always saw myself like running the rock at UNC, being a tailback at UNC as a youngster, and that was always a dream of mine, and I'm a firm believer that, if you dream it, you believe it, then you can see it. And that was something that I always, went off of. And I didn't stop, even though I had other colleges that I was wanting to attend. so heartily wanted to attend University of North Carolina.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your best experiences at Carolina, both athletically and socially.
Man, I had a lot of great times at UNC, man. Socially, you know, I met a lot of great people, man. A lot of great coaches, a lot of great people in admin, a lot of students that, you know, wasn't on the football team or wasn't around a lot. You know, I met a lot of people that helped me, you know, mature as a person and as well as an athlete. Like a lot of my brothers on the football team or in sports, man, you know, we stay connected. Like, you know, it's like a brotherhood. You know, you play ball on that field, and then, you know, when ball is over, you know, you live in your lives. You gotta, you know, stay connected somehow, some way, you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it is what it is though. And athletically, some of the, you know, some interesting moments, like when I played ball, you know, I just remember training camps, you know, it being tough, like summers being tough, 110s, 300s. I always remember running 300s and me thinking at that particular moment, I missed it that morning. I got like six. I think the test was like we had to do 8 to start off with. And I come to you, and I'm like, man, there's no way I could do this. There's no way. I'm like, coach, there's no way I can make this. I tried my hardest, man. And they had to push me around for 6, man. And then how you just, you know, made us, you know, mentally tougher by telling us, like, no, the standard is the standard. What you want us to do? You want me to drop it? Want me to drop the number? I ain't dropping no number. Like, no. I'm gonna go up 2 more. We doing 10. Like, like he's nuts. I was like, man, you know, and I just remember that, man, and just getting through that. It was like such a relief. It was such a relief knowing that, you know, at one particular time, like probably weeks before, you said, I'm telling myself I can't. And then like weeks after, like by a coach that you trust, who you believe have your best interests at heart, best interests like in mind, like best, like everything. Like you believe this guy, like, and you go put it all on the line and you pass it. Like you like, man, you can do anything. I can do anything. I'm feeling like bulletproof. Like I can do whatever, man. And like, and I wasn't the only one. They other players feeling the same way. They're like, shit, I did it. I like, you passed yours, you got yours. Like, yeah, I'm like, man, I got to get mine now. I like, you know, being jacked up, man. Those moments, man, I always, you know, reminisce on, and even coaching my son up, like, don't say what you can't do, man. Let's go. Like you
Yeah.
can do it, man. It's all mental, man. Like you start
Yeah.
saying you can't do it, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna stop on number 6, number 7 of like you got 10. Like you're gonna stop somewhere in that middle, and you ain't gonna be able to do it. And like how good you wanna be. If you want to be great, you're gonna take that mind and go somewhere else with it, man. And I learned that from like a great strength coach, man, within yourself, man. And I appreciate you, man. I love you to this day, man. I still think you're crazy, man. But hey, man, you a beast, man, with what you got going on, coach.
Much appreciated. You know, the whole thing is, I just believed in toughness. I believe that you can instill toughness in people, and they could say, well, scientifically, you know, maybe you shouldn't run 300s on a Tuesday. But I was like, okay, well, I got a whole nother purpose with this thing. And, you know, really, I mean, mostly all the former players that I talked to that I've ever coached, they always talk about the 300s. And it's just something that kind of evolved. And I'm just so happy that the end result of that was, I know that I can get through anything in life because I got through that. And, you know, and that's very satisfying to me. So I very much appreciate that. But I wanted to tell you that now that you've mentioned that, you basically came back and proved to me that you were extremely tough because, when you were with the Steelers, you come back, run 16 110s with one group in the morning, go get the sled, do weighted sled sprints in the sand pit, and then come back later and run another 16 110s. I've never seen anybody do that. So props to you on that. We're going to talk a little bit more about how you survived from 6 years in the NFL. And but I definitely wanted to mention that because when the other guys on the team at that time saw you coming back in the summer and doing that, it was blowing their minds and it made them work hard. It was a great example for them. So, I'll never forget that. And I always appreciate that. So, before you, we had some other running backs at that time too, Ronnie McGill and Chad Scott. Chad Scott's now the running backs coach at West Virginia. Of course, Ronnie was a big, strong kid that could run. I thought he was in the NFL doing something too for a while, but I don't know what he's doing. But basically, you didn't get probably quite as many reps as you wanted that 1 year. I don't know if you were banged up a little bit, but I know you were on a mission after that. And then, we started training and we went over there to a Southern Village. And I told you about Walter Payton, how he ran them hills. And, we started running that 240-yard hill straight up. And, I remember going with you up to Steeler camp when you first went. We actually trained at that high school that one day, and I took you around to meet some of my friends because I'm from that area. And they're like, yeah, Willie's a free agent coming in. And, yeah, he'll be there a few weeks, whatever. Little did they know you'd be there for 6 years as a starting tailback and have the longest run in Super Bowl history. So, wow, man.
Wow.
But
one thing I want to say about that, Coach, like going back to first, I want to touch on going back to UNC, man. Going back to UNC and running in the morning, then come back running in the afternoon and going in the evening running. Man, you instill something in myself. You push us to the limit, man. And you have to have a little bit of psycho in you when you playing this sport, man. And when you have a coach that encourage you to be great, like, man, you can go far as you possibly, far as wherever those stars at, man. If you shoot for them, a coach telling you to shoot for them every single day, no matter what it is, man, you can go far as you want to go. And you used to encourage us a lot, like your way, like, and you ain't take no BS, man. And it was cool, like, because you related to us, you knew where we was at, like, you related to everybody, like, So it was kind of cool, man. And Ronnie, he's the PR guy in New England. I want to say he's at Houston now, the PR guy at Houston. But yeah, and being with those group of guys, man, all those tailbacks over time, man, we had a talented room. And like that, I really do believe that strength and conditioning aspect of it. And I know that strength and conditioning aspect for me is what made me endure, like, not getting those carries, not getting the ball, not getting my name called out on the big speakers inside the stadium. Like, it was something else resonating for me, even though, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm gonna just take all the blame for myself. Like, but by being mentally, like, getting that mind stronger out there on that 300s on around that field, 300s, them 110s, running those 110s, man, it made me, like, really, strong, like where I could take anything, man. And then, yeah, your friends, great group of guys, but yeah, we had something else in mind. I won't going out there wasting your time at that high school, like, and and you believed that you won't get in your time. Like, I won't wasting your time. You believe that you were doing this for a purpose. I sensed that. You feel me?
See, I knew about you. That's the thing, because you ran a 4.34 for me. And when I took that 4.34 to Gary Tranquil, and Trank is a great coach, man. I'm not saying nothing negative about Trank, but Trank was like, there's no way Willie ran a 4.34. I'm like, I don't know, man. I got a pretty good watch. I think you ran a 4.34, and then you went to Steelers on a 4.28.
Pretty good.
So
Your watch
if anything, my watch was slow.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff. Gary Trengel is a great guy, man.
Yeah.
But you had that watch, man. That watch, it took me to a whole nother level, man.
So before we leave UNC, let's talk a little bit about, I'd like to know your opinion of the NIL, the portal, and I'd like to know your opinion, what you think has been happening to UNC at the end of the year, the last 3 years, where they just fall off and lose like 4 or 5 games in a row or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
Man, it's good to watch them at the beginning of the season, but at the end of the season, to watch how they fall off, man. And now I'm a fan. I'm just a straight fan now, like in football. And so I talk to other fans, other alumni, and other people, and you want to say, and they talk to me. They ask me questions. I say, well, my opinion, I think, strength and conditioning always plays a part, but it's the mental part of that strength and conditioning, man, that mentality, man, them 300. I'm telling you, man, I feel like that is somewhere around in that area, man. And I really don't know, because the first half of the season, they scoring so quick. They scoring so quick. And then sometimes, most of the times in the second half, it's our defense. Our defense not really holding up. But if you look at the first half of the season, you'll see our defense, it's not the best in the first half of the season, but they get by. But the second half of the season, it seems like we just fall apart, you know, and they have some good athletes. So, me, I'm more of like, that strength and conditioning like type of athlete, man. So,
Right.
so I would point it in that direction, man. Like, we have to get more, in tune with our strength. We got to get more in tune in the mind of the athlete,
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it could be mental toughness. It could be maybe some conditioning. I don't know. I have no idea. But somebody asked me about it this year, and I said I really can't speak to it. I said the only thing I can say is it's, sometimes when things happen that way, it's more of a something between the ears, or somebody's maybe not as loyal as they should be to the program. They're already thinking about something else, or you don't have the leadership on the team,
Yeah.
So those would be kind of my ideas.
I got you in the NIL, and you're not wrong. Like, nobody's wrong, like, for voicing their opinions, But the NIL, I think it's well deserving. Like, as a former athlete, like, some athletes, they get money, they can move how they want to move, when they want to move to another team, and compete for a championship or whatever the case may be, or take their family to, their the team of choice. But one thing I will say about the NIL, in my mind, I think it's too much at one time. Even though I was a former athlete, man, it's a lot. Like, for these kids, I was reading something earlier before I got in the sauna. The third string running back at Maryland said he's gonna get on in the portal if they don't give him $100,000. The third string running back in
Yeah,
Maryland.
I
I
saw
was
that.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Me being a third string running back in college, and I can just only imagine, like, but, would I took that $100 and did something like that? Man, yes. Like, but at the end of the day, I think some of the higher, like, authorities they gotta do something to put a cap on it, like, because it's going crazy out here, man. Just, like,
Yeah.
actually watering down the sport. Like,
No
college
doubt.
football, a lot of
Yeah.
people love watching college football because they hungry, they going to get it. But it's like they do the NFL players now.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I can't imagine it. Here comes some guys in the weight room. they're making 5 times what I'm making. I'm like, all right, we're gonna do some power cleans today. And I don't know if I want to do cleans today, Coach. I might hurt my back, man. I got big money. I can't risk it.
That's tough, man. That's tough. That's tough for a coach. Like,
Oh
how can
yeah.
you coach and get on somebody if like you worried about them leaving? Like,
Yeah.
Could you imagine coaching, like, I know he's in the Hall of Fame now, but a high caliber athlete like Julius Peppers, like in college, where he can have the authority to go anywhere he want to go. Like,
Right.
man, that's tough. I couldn't coach that.
Yeah, well, same thing like at a program like East Carolina. I talked to Steve Logan one day, and on the podcast, he's like, "Hey, what we did is we developed people. So by the time we got them to their senior year, it was right where we needed them. But then all of a sudden they'd be leaving. So that would have been, I'm glad I wasn't part of that. So I'm glad I'm retired for that reason for sure.
Yeah, I understand, man. That's tough, man.
No doubt. But yeah, man, I wanted to talk to. Go ahead and let's get into a little bit of your experience with the Steeler family. And when you first went to camp, I was always curious, like, what did Willie do to impress these people? Where they hung on to him, they started to believe in him. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, my mentality in college, man. I'm a work, and at camp I used to work, go to training camp, work, go in the weight room, work. I used to run. I used to have heels in Latrobe. I used to run heels, and not only that, I had people like I used to do stuff like that my first year. Then you see more athletes doing it with me, more players doing it with me, more players in the indoor facility with me early in the morning. I'm gonna meet you at 6:00. All right, 6:05. Like, we in there getting it, getting to it, Then we go into the weight room in the morning, then go to meetings. It was like one of those dreams that came true for me,
Right.
being with other professionals and, doing what you love, like, and that's training my body, man, training my mind, and it was beautiful, man. And I used to just, man, in practice, used to go so hard in practice, man, tire myself out after practice, always doing something. And that was the tip for 6 years. That was Willie Parker, and that was him.
When you got to camp that first year, and as you progressed, who were the guys you had to move ahead of at that point?
The guys I had to move ahead of. So I was like probably the fifth back. Jerome, Deuce, Varon. They had a guy named Dante Brown that was there. He was on practice squad 2 times. He played at Memphis, so it was a stacked house. Um, so I had to move up real fast. I had weeks, probably like a month at most.
Right.
But I started the mini camp though. OTAs started early.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was a beautiful thing.
So did they get your 40 time when you first got there, or when did they get that 4.28?
They got that 40 time when that had to be in the middle. That's a great question, Coach.
Well, I know one thing, they still got it everywhere online, and everywhere else you could see that 4.28. So it was legit, no doubt about that.
That changed a lot of heads, man. That turned a lot of heads, Coach.
Now, of course, I grew up in the Pittsburgh area, and you met one of my best friends, Andy's a good friend of mine. He's the one who had the boat, but my other friend Randy, He got all 6 Super Bowl rings tattooed on his back. So that's the kind of fans you got there. And so talk a little bit about the Steeler fans, man. How, what was your experience in downtown Pittsburgh? And we went around to a few places a couple times when I came up there, and this kind of blew my mind how everybody knew Fast Willie P.
Man, first and foremost, tell Andy and his family I said what's up, man. Make sure you tell Randy and his family I said what's up as well, man. 2 great guys, man. They always before I even made the team, they were showing me a lot of love, man. And I'm always gonna cherish those moments that we had before I went to mini camp in Pittsburgh, man. Those some great guys. You got a great fam. But Pittsburgh is still a family, man. Oh man, they one of a kind, man. They love Steeler football. And they make it easy to go and play a 1 o'clock game, a 1 p.m. game, like at the stadium, because they bringing all their energy. Like as soon as you wake up, they downstairs in the in the lobby of the hotel. They on the streets. Like no matter where you at, you can be in Pittsburgh, you can be at a Baltimore. You can be no matter where you at. They there, and they're gonna be showing their support. They're gonna be giving you their energy. Being 11th man whatever state you're at. And it was great playing like in front of such a great fan base. I think they pushed me more than they ever know, like by the extra cheers. And even when I wasn't myself, by them just, hey man, hey, we got a game this week. You better figure that out. We got to go. They some great fans, man. The best fans ever.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, I got my black and gold on.
100%.
But I went down to see the Falcons play last year. They were playing the Steelers, but Arthur Smith, who coached him through his career at Carolina. He's a head coach in NFL. How about Ben Johnson was like the walk-on quarterback? He's an offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions this year. He'll probably end up being a head coach. This stuff kind of blows my mind that I coach these people and what they've accomplished since. And there's some intelligent, talented people for sure. So very proud of those guys. But T.J. Yates was down there.
Mm-hmm.
He was coaching receivers, and then Dwayne Ledford was O-line coach who I had at ECU. So all 3 of them guys.
Man, that's some good stuff, man.
So it's like, wow, man. So yeah, man. If you ever go back to see a Steeler game, let me know, man. I'll meet you up there.
Man, let's go do it. Let's go do it. We gotta go
Arthur
check.
Smith is now the offensive coordinator for the Steelers.
We gotta go check him out, man. His play calling, man.
Exactly.
That's wow. That's amazing, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So, I had Kevin Colbert on podcast. After he had retired, the Steelers GM, of course,
Mm-hmm.
vice president, whatever, and then of course, he had been with the Steelers for such a long time. Did you have any experiences with him or the Rooneys, or what can you say a little bit about the ownership? I had some of the grandsons in school down in Florida, actually.
Mm-hmm. They have a great thing going, man. It's a great family. They definitely make it so that it's family based. They embrace you when you come in as a Steeler and as you leave. Like when you leave Pittsburgh, the final game, they always show you love and respect and support whatever you got going on. Kevin Colbert, almost every Sunday or Monday, he'll send me a text encouraging me to get on the Zoom call on Tuesday. Like so, and he's still affiliated with the Steelers in some way, but he stepped down his role. But things like that, man, means the world to me, man. He reaches out shoot me a text. Hey man, this is what we talking about this week. Hopefully you can join in. And the Rooneys, man, they're a great family, man. And they're gonna bring some more championships to Pittsburgh. They're gonna figure it out, and they're gonna bring some more and to that organization, man. That organization is great, man. I love that organization, man. I can't wait till we win another championship just for those people that you just named, man. It's a great group of people and, great group of men. And I love, playing for them.
Gotcha. Well, I talked to him about that Zoom thing that he's doing. I actually tried that a little bit myself, but I think it's called Lend a Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically just guys that get out of the league and, sometimes they have a little bit of hard time finding their way after a few years, or, somebody might even run into some financial problems and so forth, but keeping that connection is very important because, the statistics sometimes, if you look at them with guys that played in the NFL, 10 years later, sometimes it doesn't look too good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great what he's doing, and, what a fine man he is. So really appreciated the opportunity to speak with him. And of course, my man, old Jerry O, Jerry O was helped us in Carolina, and then he coached with played for the Steelers, of course, and coached with the Steelers for a number of years. I'm not sure where he is now, but man, what a great guy he was as well. So what do you think, if you're talking to guys, who have an opportunity to go to the NFL, what do you think are some of the primary components that are going to give you longevity there? I mean, you went 6 years as a running back, which is incredible because you take such a beating. And also, I'd like you to talk a little bit about how important it is to be able to play with pain.
Yeah, so the first thing, major component, one of the major components that you'll need, and this I'm talking to you like as I'm talking to a younger player or a younger athlete, you have to get your sleep, you have to get your nutrition, you have to, all that stuff, your diet, you can't be really taking too much in your body without taking care of your body. You definitely need that sleep at night. That partying and all that stuff is going to come, but it's going to take a toll on your body. So your body is everything, man. And you have to treat it as you have to treat it as, you have to treat it as you know your I guess treat it as a asset, and pretty much, every night you gotta have a routine that next day. You can't get out of that routine, but it has to be a positive routine, like each and every day. This is something that, like, I was bad at as far as taking care of my body and my nutrition. Now I used to work out and all that stuff, but I used to beat my body up in other ways. And you know, and that's where I failed at. That's why I only played 6 years, because it came and it caught up with me. Um, Far as the last part of your question, um, what was the last part? What you say? How did you word it?
Now, basically, how do you, what are the components that contribute to longevity in the NFL? And then how important was it for you to play with pain?
Yes, the playing with pain part. Like playing with pain. You're gonna play with some pain. You have that pain tolerance. Um, you're gonna have to do some things that you probably thought or be thinking that you can't do, because if you put that guy that's behind you, he's usually better than you. Like, you put him on the field, if you give him chances and more opportunities, it can be, it can give him more confidence, and it's one of those, man, can you go out there and play with this particular or this level of pain, or do you need some rest? Like you'll know if you need rest. You'll know if you're injured. Now, if you're injured, you can't play. But pain, you have to get out there and play because that guy behind you, the more opportunities you get or you give him, he'll end up like being that guy
Right.
sooner. And that's how it goes.
I got you, man. Yeah, I played at a school, Salem, West Virginia, and I always tell people I was the last white corner in college football. But
Mm.
I played strong corner, which I went to the strong side every time. We played a lot of zones, so I was already lined up 6-7 yards deep, so it was hard for anybody to beat me deep. We played a lot of zone. But I always wanted to trade responsibilities with the strong safety so I could come up and hit somebody. But my senior year, the first game of the season, I broke 2 bones in my hand, and it hurt. And I said, and it's just like you said, the guy behind me, he was faster than me. He couldn't wait to get on the field. I'm like, oh, nah, this guy ain't getting on the field. I'm telling anybody my hand's broke. So I played that whole season with a broken hand. Man, every time I hit somebody, it hurt. But I put one of them old hand pads on it, taped it up a little bit. But I know exactly what you're saying, man. I mean, I knew that was no chance of me going to the league. I had to get whatever I could out of that senior year, So that's what you got to do. But I also remember a time in Pittsburgh, and we got to mention Greg and Jeff, Jeff Reed and Greg Warren. Also, Carolina players. I want to get Jeff on a podcast one of these days, but great place kicker. But I had my cousin who was an attorney in Pittsburgh, kind of a famous attorney. Remember, he bought P. Diddy's Bentley and came and picked us up. We went. You came and did a camp for us, and Marty, he's passed on since then. But I don't know if you remember that trick you played on me in that restaurant, but I just wanted to mention that. I'm not going to talk about it. But
rest in peace, Marty, man. That was a great guy, man. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
But great. You got me, man. You got me that day.
Hey, you have to have a little bit of humor sometimes. You feel me?
I got you, man.
Yeah. I love you, my brother.
I got to try to figure out how to prank you one of these days to get you back.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's talk a little bit about, I definitely want to talk about your foundation, and tell me a little bit about that.
The foundation, before we touch on the foundation, coach, let's talk about Jeff Reed and Greg Warren, man. Great guy. I think it was kind of surreal playing, like, in the same city with those guys, man. Knowing I played college football with them, and we got somewhat of a relationship, man. I thought it was so cool, like coming to the room, saying what's up to them, chopping it up, man.
Hey, go ahead and repeat Coach, what you just said. I think you might have cut out.
I said with Greg Warren and Jeff Reed, man, being in the same locker room, I thought that was a great thing. Yeah. Like, like a surreal moment, like for all three of us being able to chop it up, knowing we went to college together, but being able to go in the locker room, and share college experiences and, kind of go against like the guys, like the other guys that's like, that played in the ACC or played, and, kind of take it back to those college moments, man. I think that was real dope being or sharing the locker room with those guys, man. It was kind of cool.
No doubt. Well, of course, Jeff Reed was off the chain. I always got a kick out of him. He was, he's a character. And then, Greg for a snapper, I think he power cleaned about 353 or something like that. So, I mean, he was slapped together now. Some of them snappers are, they're not that physical, but he was, and I think it's one of the reasons he lasted for a while,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And what was that question again, Coach?
Want to talk about the foundation.
The foundation, 39 Legends Foundation, man. We give back to the community. The foundation was started 3 years ago. And I had a mission of just, being in the community and doing stuff with the younger generation, and that's how I started off. Just giving families, around the holidays, you know, Christmas, like going in and providing the family with, Christmas presents,
Right.
and and then the following year we started doing the turkey drive, and we've been doing that ever since, man. And I think it's been really fulfilling, like, on that each and every year. Now we're in a position to do even more. We had a great response. A lot of a few foundations, be reaching out to partner and
Yeah.
out with what we have going on in the community, man. And it's been an amazing thing for us, like, and for myself and for my foundation.
That's great. Have you talked to Jason Brown at all?
I haven't, but I keep in touch with him over, IG. I see
Okay.
a lot of good stuff going on too as well.
Oh yeah, man. I've been out to his farm. It's incredible, and that chapel he has out there for weddings, man. It's wow. You talk about a venue for a wedding. It's incredible, and he's just done so much. And he's got, I don't know what he got, like 8 or 9 kids that he's homeschooled,
Mm.
and man, incredible. I mean, he gave it all up, man. He gave up that contract to come and start that farm. So yeah, it's just incredible what he's done. But man, so many of the guys I coached up there have done just some fantastic things. It's so proud of a lot of those guys. The other guy too I've had on, Sean Drawn,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to maybe play some golf with him one day up there. I know he likes to golf a little bit with some boys.
That he can swing that club, man.
That's what I heard. That's why I haven't played with him.
He has a nice swing.
He
Good.
probably take my money.
Nah,
But he don't know I hit from the gold tees though, man. I'm 67 now, so
man, that's what's up. Know how to play too.
So yeah, so before we sign off today, man, give me some details about your family. What's happening with you?
Man, I have a son that's just literally turned 9 a few days ago, and
Okay.
my daughter's name is Naomi. She's 6 years old, and they like beautiful little people, man. Watching them grow each and every day, it brings, happiness, like, in my heart and into my life. It's beautiful. My parents, they still in Clinton. My mother and my father still in Clinton. I have a brother who still lives in Clinton, and my sister, my older sister, and my oldest brother, they probably about 10 minutes away from me in the Durham area. So we still together, man. It's beautiful, man. We just out here just trying to, thrive a little bit, Coach.
I got you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've already mentioned this is going to be pre-recorded. It's going to play tomorrow night. So what you got planned for the Super Bowl tonight?
Before I go to that Super Bowl question, yeah, and I have and my niece, I have a niece down in Alabama, and my middle niece, she's about to go to college next year. She's thinking about going to Florida A&M, and I have my nephew. He's a junior playing basketball at a private school.
Gotcha.
But the Super Bowl tonight, man, I can't go against Mahomes, man. Even though 49ers has tons of weapons and they have a great defense, man, Kansas City's playing great ball right now.
Yeah.
Don't look like they did in the regular season.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
what about yourself?
Oh, we're just going to hang at the house. I'm going to run over there and see my parents today. My parents are 88. And I got them living about 4 or 5 miles down the road, so I can take care of. My dad was my coach in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and so very important to me to take care of my folks. They took care of me. I want to make sure I take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about that. But yeah, I just had, I started this podcast, and of course, one of the reasons I started is because, I made a decision in my life when I retired. I was going to basically try to give up a little bit of my ego to find the kingdom, So, basically, I've tried to put off the old man, put on the new man. So I always ask this, if you can think of anything in your life that you overcame through your faith, how important was your faith to you? And maybe even you might want to mention your dad, because I remember you saying that he had found his faith.
Yeah, man, faith is it's super important, especially when you you in a position where things are just crumbling down on you. Just you have to have you have to believe in yourself. You have to have some like level of faith to come out of it, and when I was at UNC and that's really the first adversity I ever faced. And I just had myself, and I believed that this wasn't it, and you know at the end of the day, that light started shining, and you believe, you can go forward, you believe, man, and have faith. Like, so faith is everything, man. And it's something that I always share with my kids, and
Yeah.
Try to encourage them, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're gonna, trust me, have faith.
Yeah, and I think it's very important for collegiate athletes to get some guidance there, because I don't know. I mean, I think most of us, when we were in college losing our minds and doing all kinds of crazy stuff at times. But you really need somebody to give you some guidance there, particularly with the NIL and the portal now, and the fact that you're wondering about, is anybody loyal anymore, and what does this mean? And so I think that that strong foundation of faith at the collegiate level for collegiate athletes is really important. So I'm definitely going to keep emphasizing that in my little quest here. But man, it's been so great to talk to you. So great to have you on, because I haven't seen you for so long. And I got to get up there and see you. I'm gonna text you a few days when I'm up there, see if you're available, see if we can get together for lunch. But thank you so much for opening up and coming on the podcast today, brother.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Anything for you, my guy. But yeah, we definitely have to grab lunch when you're in town, man. Let's do that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and you have a great time tonight. Hey, this is Jeff Connors signing off for Absolute Empowerment, and God bless. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Willie.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You've been listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join us every Monday night for a new edition of the show. Listen to the show pretty much everywhere podcasts are found. Be sure to follow us on social media at The Sports OBJ on Twitter and TikTok, at The Sports Objective on Instagram. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. And go Pirates!